Hello, my name is Torsten, and welcome to episode number 45. Sorry, excuse me. So, in this episode, I've titled this episode Choosing for You. So, this has been an interesting thing that's been showing up in my world, and so therefore, I guess it's something that I'm kind of talking about, or will talk about today. So it's interesting that this topic has showed up actually in numerous places in my life, not only in my personal life but also in other things. And it's interesting. A lot of clients are going through this thing seems to be popping up a lot for for people as well. So it's really interesting when we start looking at actually choosing for you. And when you look at it in your life, like how often do you choose for you, or how often do you choose because of something else or somebody else, or some sort of obligation, or some sort of thought of obligation or obligation, something showing up in, you feel you have to do something because that's what you're supposed to do, societal obligation or family obligation or partner obligation. And so you choose based on that. And when you make those choices based on that, it usually isn't tons of fun. And if you continually choose that, you start to realize that your life isn't showing up the way you know is possible or the way you would like. Though most of us have always chosen for other reasons than ourselves. It's never been okay to choose for us. It's never been okay to, it's almost like you don't have, what's the word I'm looking for? Permission. You don't give yourself permission. You don't actually need it from anyone else. But it's such an interesting thing when you actually start looking at choosing for you and what shows up when that happens. And the other thing is, we're so extremely aware of other people's worlds. So often when we would like to choose for ourselves, the person or people, you're aware of what this will create in their world. And if you're somebody that, you're always looking at creating peace or greater in the world, that's you tend to choose for other people a lot of times based on that. Now, me saying this may sound a little bit insane. And you may realize also it might actually be true for you, that you actually do choose based on that. You choose based on other people's reactions, other people's experiences, what that will affect other people's worlds. And so because you're aware of that, you choose not to choose that, which in turn doesn't actually honor you. And it may be a little bit uncomfortable to actually do that, to honor you and to actually choose for you. Yet that might be the thing that really creates something different in your world. And the whole mind game that a lot of people go into, or the loop or whatever, where they make themselves wrong for actually choosing for themselves because it's not made okay in this world, and it's definitely not something that you're allowed to do, because it's a bad thing, it's a wrongness if you choose for yourself. You always have to be serving other people, you always have to be taking other people's lives into account to make your choices. What if you chose for you, and whatever you chose worked for you and worked for the people around you? Now, sometimes it won't. It won't work for the people around you. And you still have to choose for what works for you. It may not be a comfortable choice. It may not be, in the moment, a lot of fun. But what it does is it creates a demand in your own world, a demand to actually choose what works for you. And that demand, and you showing up and actually making that demand for you, which you maybe don't do very often, and you do at times for sure, what will that create? What will that demand of you create in the world and in your world? As neither of them are separate, they're all interlinked. So making that demand for you, that however insane some of these choices and how unlogical they seem, and maybe even very unpractical in some sense, when you choose for you, you are not only honoring yourself, you're actually honoring everything else at the same time. And you're making a demand for something else. And you're making a demand that this world is a world that you are a part of, and your voice actually matters. And so it's really the stepping up into you, being more of you, when you're choosing for you, when you're making the demand of you that your voice actually matters, and that you can change anything in your life. It was interesting, I had a conversation with a friend the other day, and she was talking about her children. And she keeps on reminding her children that they're never stuck, no matter what. And I thought that was really great, to give that information and to always have that there, that you always have choice. You're never stuck. And though some of the choices may seem a little bit interesting, shall we say, you always have a choice to change something. You literally always do. And some of those choices may, again, seem at the time like there aren't a lot of choices, but you always have choice. Always. And so with that in mind, what else can you choose? And have you been choosing for you throughout your life? Or have you not? Have you been choosing for everybody else? Maybe today is the day that is changing, or that it changes and you choose something different. That you actually choose for you. And it may be a choice and a demand that is uncomfortable, but it is something that you have never chosen in this way before. And you're telling the universe that you're ready to show up in a completely different way than you ever have. And people will take note. You will take note. You will be different by choosing what actually works and being clear what actually works for you. Your life will change. And it may be uncomfortable. It may be extremely uncomfortable. And it may seem insane, but most people that created something amazing were seen as insane when they first chose what they chose. So this is an honoring of you, a believing in yourself, a choosing for you no matter what, making that demand, and seeing what you can create that you maybe never dreamed you actually could. And this is what my invitation is to you. And what can we do to change the world? And what demand can we be that we know way more is possible and we're not going to stand for what has been happening up until now? And this can be in all different ways in your life. So thank you so much for watching. Please leave any comments. I'm definitely interested. Have you been choosing for you, or have you not? And really look at what it would create if you did choose for you, and have the courage to do that. So thank you very much for watching. I think this is a bit of a short one this week. We will talk to you again next week. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.